You found the best in Michigan State sports coverage, SpartanMag.com. Subscribe today to SpartanMag.com and get 50% off the annual rate. That's just 15 cents per day. The 50% off deal is valid now until the Michigan game on October 30th. So don't go another day without SpartanMag.com's complete, unmatched coverage and analysis of Michigan State football, basketball, and recruiting. No one takes you inside the program like SpartanMag.com's Jim Comparoni and Paul Konadike, whether it's on campus or around the country. Spartan Mag has covered 19 bowl games, 70 NCAA tournament games, and 8 Final Fours. No one breaks it down like SpartanMag.com. We bring daily recruiting coverage to a loyal community of Michigan State fans at the Underground Bunker message board. Now is the time to get on board. Go to SpartanMag.com, look for the red breaking tab at the top of the page, and get started to get 50% off your subscription to SpartanMag.com, your source for Michigan State sports coverage and recruiting.
All right, thanks for coming. Really appreciate you showing up today and covering the team. And we all know this is a big week and what this is all about. Playing the school down the road for the Paul Bunyan Trophy. Big game for our players, for our university, for our fans, our alumni, all of our former Spartan dogs. It's a rivalry game. We understand this is not just another game, and we get that. We know there's a lot of excitement leading up to this game and surrounding this game. The most important voices will be the voices inside of our building. We need to eliminate distractions and focus on what truly matters and is going to affect the outcome of the game. We got some really good work in during the bye. Thought we were effective, efficient, very productive. We practiced on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. We were also able to get some recruiting in, some rest and recovery, and scheme evaluation, offense, defense, and special teams. Able to get some guys back and work on some things that we needed to correct and where we needed some improvements. So we were able to get that done. Very productive bye week. Our focus right now is preparing relentlessly for the game, preparing for pressure, not just being ready, but being prepared, and being prepared for pressure, the pressure of the game. That's where our focus is right now. We all understand the significance of the game. That doesn't take away from the fact that we need to prepare. It's what we do during the week leading up to the game that's going to greatly affect the outcome of the game. Our fans have been tremendous all season, and it's going to be an electric atmosphere. It's going to be a capacity crowd. The student section is going to be packed, and the deep end will be in full effect. We all know that. But again, it all goes back to preparation right now, leading up to the game, and focusing on what's most important, in our process to prepare for the matchup. So, with that being said, I'll open it up.
Mel, Matt Sharpman of Detroit News. We all talk about how important this game is, how big this game is. Did you pay attention at all to Michigan on Saturday, and is there a part of you that is almost happy that they remained unbeaten, and does it add just a little bit more that both teams are unbeaten and there's so much on the line beyond just the rivalry stuff?
Obviously, I watched the game, and in games like this, records don't matter, and that's not something that's within our control. So, the records are the records, and it's all about the preparation at this point.
You talked about how exciting this matchup is going to be. This will be your first home matchup against Michigan and your first one with a full Spartan Stadium. Last year was pretty empty. How excited are you for that full environment to come out on Saturday?
Looking forward to it. We have tremendous fans in our Spartan Stadium. The woodshed is electric. It's a special place, and I love coaching and preparing for big games.
Mel, when you look at this Michigan team and how they're built, I mean, it's very run-oriented. Do you try and load the box against these guys? Do you kind of just keep playing the defense you've been playing, or do you feel like you've kind of installed some wrinkles over the last week?
You want us to lay out our defensive game plan?
Yes, please.
You
No, I mean, you know what I mean. Is it a game where you try and mix things up, or is it we stay the course?
Well, obviously, defensively, you have to stop the run. You would like to try to make opponents one-dimensional if you can, and then affect the quarterback with rushing coverage. And so in the run game, we have to set the edge and build a wall. Have to do a really good job with our perimeter run support, and not just in the run game, but some of the wide receiver screen and the bubble game, outside, and then, in the passing situations, we have to affect the quarterback with rushing coverage, working together. We'll get the third down, we got to get off the field.
And Mel, up front here, Matt Woods with MLive. I was wondering, I think it was 41 new players you had on the roster coming into fall camp. And Xavier kind of talked about you giving a little bit of a history lesson of the rivalry. I was wondering how much of a focus and how important you thought that was for your guys coming into this.
Yes, we took care of that history lesson and really that introduction for our newcomers. We took care of that this morning.
Mel, over here to your left. Bob Winowski, Detroit News. Just following up on that, is it easy to ingrain in new guys, transfers, freshmen, how deep the, whatever you want to call it, hatred, dislike, whatever is between the two rivals? Is that easy to ingrain in them?
In this type of rivalry, I believe so. Because it's in your face, and it's not just today, it's every single day. Since the day I've been here, February 12, 2020, there hasn't been a day that's gone by that someone hasn't mentioned to me something about this game.
Mel, right here in the middle, Stephen Brooks, 24/7 Sports. Going off that a little bit, I know you've been in this rivalry and other great ones in your career. As the head coach, though, going through it for the first time last year, when you win this game for the next year, like you said, people on the street and donors and all these people you talk to, what does that do? Was there anything that stuck out to you about being the head coach when you win this game in the following year until the next one, obviously?
Well, obviously, it's bragging rights, and it's important to everyone who's associated with the game. And people talk about it daily. Literally, there has not been a day that's gone by when someone has not mentioned this game to me, and it could be someone that I know, it could be someone that I don't know, it could be a text message, it could be an email, whatever, it comes up. And so, it's a big game, and we embrace it. I don't try to play down any expectations or anything like that. I told the players this morning, and I've told them this before, when you have rivalry games like this, at the end of the day, ultimately your legacy and your reputation and really is a lot of it is formed by how you play and how you coach in these games. And so, that's the reality of the situation, which is a good thing, because not everyone has these opportunities to coach and play in these games. And so, we're built for it, and we're going to prepare for it.
And Mel in front again. Your name came up in a few reports recently about LSU potentially being interested in you. I was wondering what your thoughts are on that and just kind of the timing of it coming mid-season.
Yeah, my focus is on the upcoming game versus school down the road, and that's where my concentration on my focus is, and I really appreciate you understanding that.
Audrey Dahlgren, CBS in Lansing. Xavier was in here mentioning how, going back to this history lesson about the Paul Bunyan trophy, learning things about him, or the trophy, I should say. He said he didn't want to share some things that they learned this morning. What would he mean by that, essentially? What did you guys learn about the trophy that he may not want to share?
I'm not sure what that may be. I don't want to speculate. You might have to dig a little deeper with X and find out what he meant. But there wasn't anything inflammatory or anything about the history of it. It was just factual about the trophy and the history of it, and which was important to explain to our team, educate our team, not just the newcomers, but to remind our players that are returning about the trophy. You're welcome.
Mel, here again, you're right. I know you're not really specific with a lot of injuries, but there are some guys that have been out for a little bit. You get the bye week off. Are you anticipating, without giving us details on guys, maybe are you expecting to be a little bit healthier for this game than you have been the last few weeks in certain areas?
We took the bye week to get as healthy as we possibly could. We really emphasized rest and recovery, treatment, nutrition, whatever we could do in the weight room. We emphasize those things, trying to get guys that have been out, try to get them back, try to get guys that are banged up, get them more healthy. Because obviously this time of year, everyone's banged up at every position and on every team. There's very few people that are 100% right now that have been playing. So we use the time to do that, and we're continuing to do that this week, leading up to the game. We manage the lows of our players, and we're doing everything we can to make sure that we have as many guys prepared to go and fresh and ready for the game.
Mel Fred Human, WILX. You spent a little time with Magic Johnson over the weekend. Have you spent a lot of time with him before that, and did he give you any little pep talk on this game?
I spent some time with Magic previously. He didn't have a pep talk for me when I saw him a couple of days ago. But I think we all know where everyone in Spartan Nation, where everyone is, and how everyone feels, and where everyone wants.
Mel in the front again. No, he didn't.
That's 3. You're setting the record for yourself over there.
I got to get him in when I can. Obviously not going to give away the defensive game plan, but what have you seen from Michigan's defense with the new coordinator from the one you faced last year? They've been pretty good, not giving up points, not giving up too much, and kind of just changes you saw from last year.
Yeah, they're sound and solid. They play with good technique and fundamentals up front. They have, they're stout in the trenches, and they're very coordinated with their coverages, and they play very hard, and they run to the ball. They're opportunistic in terms of, forcing takeaways and things like that. So it's a strong group. They're very well coached, and they play extremely hard. This your third?
I wondered if do you have an update on Ricky White and Michael Gravely? We haven't really talked about them, and obviously Ricky had the big game against Michigan last year.
No updates at this time.
This is my second one, not my third, over here. Bob Wanowski, Detroit News. Historically, when you've been involved in rivalry games, what do you find is sort of the deciding factor? I know people say turnovers, running game, whatever, but emotions, how those are kept in check. I'm just curious if there's a commonality to what prevails in rivalry games.
What prevails is execution. And our focus and our point of emphasis this morning, and it's going to be throughout the week, is to eliminate the drama in our preparation. At the end of the day, it's going to come down to execution, playing with extreme effort, and obviously the turnover margin is going to be a huge factor. But in big games, in all games, but especially these very, very high stakes games, it's all about playing clean football and complementary football, offense, defense, and special teams. working together for 60 minutes in the game, and eliminating foolish penalties, carrying out your assignment, being assignment sound, heavy emphasis on technique and fundamentals, doing things right all the time, and physicality. These games are usually clean games. They're physical games, and in football, you see a lot of times teams. Sometimes teams don't get beat; they lose the game because of lack of discipline, lack of execution, lack of technique. Not giving effort, not finishing plays, things like that, not knowing what to do, and so that to get the outcome that we want, we have to keep the main things, which is, the behavior, which is what we do, the actions, and that's carrying out our assignment, playing with great technique and fundamentals, pad level, hand placement, footwork, eye discipline, playing physical, running through people, running to the ball, 11 to the ball, chasing the ball, things like that, and doing that 6 seconds at a time. If you got 70 plays in the game and you're playing, 6, 7 seconds, a play, you're looking at a total really playing 7 minutes of football. Some guys are going to play 7 minutes, some guys are going to play 2 minutes or whatever, and your intensity, your focus, what you do over and over again in those 7-minute periods, winning your one-on-one matchup, dominating your box, individually and then collectively, that's what determines the outcome of the game.
Mel in the middle here, Stephen Brooks, 24/7 Sports. One of the things that Michigan does that's a little interesting is rotating their quarterbacks and that deal they've got going on. What have you seen from that aspect of their offense, and what does that change about each guy when each guy's in there, and just what type of challenge is that, to have to account for as a defense?
Yeah, every player they put out there is a good player. They have good players at every position, same thing at quarterback. And so, we'll have to see what their game plan is going to be, if we're going to see that and what plays they're going to run if they put another quarterback in the game. And we can't assume that they're just going to be runs, design runs. We can't assume anything. We have to, read and react and, play our responsibility, read our keys and do our jobs on those plays. And so we do need to know who's in the game, and we'll identify that and communicate that to the players before the play.
Mel, Reiner Sabin, Detroit Free Press. As the spotlight on you has grown bigger, how do you balance taking advantage of your raised profile with kind of staying kind of true to what, has gotten you here? Particularly from a recruiting standpoint.
From a recruiting standpoint?
How do you take advantage of the raised profile that, you've had over the last 2 months?
Yeah, well, we recruit every day, and it's not a one-man show here. Obviously, we have a great staff, great support staff, and recruiting staff and operations, and so we recruit every single day, and obviously we're going after some very good players, and we're willing to compete for those players wherever they may be. We recruit nationally. We fight like heck in our state and outside of our state, and recruits are taking notice of what we're doing, and our culture and the product that we display on the field, and our consistency and in our performance, and our relations, our personal relationships with them and their influencers, whether it's the family or their coaches. And so, obviously, we're getting a lot of looks from a lot of good players from all over the country, and that's a good thing. But for me, it doesn't change. It doesn't change my approach. It doesn't change our approach, because we're we're just working to get better what we're doing in our process. Keep cementing our culture. We're workers, endurers, and we do everything with intent and process, and there's no accidents. So we continue to work the process. The profile being raised or lowered does not really have any bearing on how we go about our business on a day-to-day basis.
One question, one player update. This may be a short answer. I apologize if I missed it. Is there an update on Drew Beasley, and do you expect to have him back this year?
I don't have an update on him, and he'll be ready when he's ready.
Okay, he's sticking with that. You're big on blocking out the noise, the outside noise. How much more difficult is it this week with the fans and the media and social media so involved in this rivalry? How difficult is it to block out that noise?
Well, it's really depends on the individual person, because everyone is affected differently, and we lay out to the players every day. Did it again this morning. How to handle the distractions, and we give them the answers to the test every single day, and it's just follow the plan and stick with the process and listen to us, the voices inside our building, and our voices have to be louder than the voices outside. It's as simple as that, and continue to hammer that message, all day, every day, and focus on the work, because that's what creates the outcomes. It's what we do. It's what we do in our preparation. Everyone's going to be ready to play. Everyone's going to be ready to play on Saturday. Everybody is going to be ready. Fans are going to be ready. Everybody's going to be up. It's going to be exciting, but not. It's about being prepared to play, and that's where the focus needs to be, and that's where the focus is going to be. Because nothing else matters. It really doesn't. Nothing matters other than the preparation and the work that we put in leading up to the game, and then that is going to carry over into the game. And what we do in the game is going to affect the outcome. Everything else is just noise. But we have to explain that to the players, and we have to continue to reinforce, that message, because you can't assume anything. You can't assume that they know. You can't assume that they're going to stay focused. We have to help them, and make sure that we explain to them in great detail. This is how you focus. Here's what you need to focus on. Here's what's important. This is what's important right now. This is what's important today. This is what preparation looks like, and just continue to do that. Every single day. And, like I told the players this morning, 2 + 2 is 4. We're not introducing any new concepts in terms of preparation this week. We're not introducing anything new in terms of our culture, in terms of, discipline, attention to detail, sense of urgency, accountability, technique and fundamentals, extreme effort, extreme focus, intent in everything we do. These are not new concepts. It's just what we do. It's just about doing what we do better, and do simple better. And sometimes those simple things are not the easiest things to do. But that's why they call us coaches. That's our job, is to make sure guys are focused and they're prepared, and when they can show up and they can execute the game plan and do it for 60 minutes, 4 quarters in the game.
Coach, Nick Mantis, CBS Lansing, back here. With obviously a lot of talk on Michigan's running game has been one of the things that we've seen this year, but Can you give me your impression of Cade McNamara so far this season?
I think he's a good player. I think he has command of the offense. And he does what they ask him to do. And he does it at a high level. Very good player. Very good.
Jack Ebling, drive and press pass.
I know who you are, Jack.
I just want to be sure. Dating back to the late 40s, Mel, the last 15 coaches in this series have not been able to win their first 2 games in the rivalry. Any idea why that would be, and what would a win do for your program, not just your team?
Yeah, I'm not sure why. You know, obviously, the past is not predictive, you know, necessarily of the future, and so you know, it's a new year, and we're focused on, you know, on this game. But you know, obviously, it's a rivalry game, and you know, sometimes, you know, the wins and the losses, they kind of go back and forth, you know, at times. But that has no bearing on this particular game. You know, what's happened in the past. That doesn't have anything to do with this game. You know, and so this is a new game, new year, and so it's all about preparing for this game. And so that's how we're looking at it, and that's how I'm looking at it. That's how I'm approaching the game. Because the records and things like that, it doesn't affect how we prepare, which is what we're doing. And what we do is going to affect the outcome. So there's no need to focus on anything else.
And when you say they don't all count one, what would a win here mean to the program, the way that things have changed for you the last 12 years, in the last 12 months, actually?
Well, technically they all count one, you know, but in rivalry games, it means a little bit more. It means a lot more. And, you know, obviously there's bragging rights inside the state. It's important in a lot of ways. And, you know, it's really too early in the week, you know, for me to go into everything. You know, in terms like right now it's Monday, you know, it's really too early for me to go down the laundry list of everything what this game means, because it's just too early in the week to get there. You know, we're gonna prepare, and we're gonna build, you know, up to the game, and then you know, we will peak the right time of the week, you know, at noon, and be ready to play. You know, but you know, I know how big the game is, and if I know, then my players are going to know, and they do know.
No, Xavier talked about hearing the rumors about LSU. I was wondering if over the course of the past week, we saw you out on the road recruiting. Was it a chance maybe to teach these guys about how to block out that noise in some ways?
We talk about blocking out the noise every single day, you know, and as you go on the journey of a season, you know, the noise gets louder and louder, and so we have to focus on what matters, you know, and what's going to affect the outcome of the game. And one of the things that you have to do is eliminate distractions, and you know, invest your time wisely. You know, where's your attention? You know, where's your focus? What's important? You know, what's substantive? What has substance? What matters? And what doesn't? You know, and so, but I believe in communicating those things, you know, and laying it out to the players. Give them the answers to the test. we're going to do this, 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 and then we're going to do it this way. And this is why it's important to do it this way. And then hold everyone accountable to do those things on a consistent basis. And that's every day and everything that we do. And there's no different, there's nothing different this week about that. Just inherently this game is going to bring an additional element of intensity and excitement and hype and things like that. So we don't have to add to that because it's inherently part of the game, you know. And so, you know, let's keep the main thing, and in our preparation. I mean, that's, you know, we have a job to do, you know, in here. We have things we have to do, you know, every day to prepare. And the less distracted we are, the better. And from what I saw today, what I saw last week, I saw a very focused football team, very focused staff. And today's practice was very sharp. I didn't see any indication of any distracted coaches, staff, or players today. I didn't see that today. So we'll take the next step tomorrow.
Thanks, Coach.
All right, thank you so much. Appreciate you.